Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Rajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Nachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. I like microphones, but not when they are directly in the face. Usually in the professional things, when people sing, they have a microphone away. It's more sensitive, so. Okay, today we are reading, as I usually say, most exalted book, Srimad Bhagavatam. There's many different holy scriptures, especially Puranas. If we count of them, there's just main ones, 18, and there's even more. Main Puranas, there's Upa-Puranas. There's many scriptures describing the lifetimes, creations, philosophical principles, and so on and so on. But Srimad Bhagavatam is especially unusual because it is most pure due to the describing the service, devotional service, and ultimately ending up with a completely pure devotional service in the 10th canto and so on, although it's starting already beginning. So therefore we're studying this book, and meanwhile there's many subjects which are being touched, which are we can relate to very nicely due to our situation here in the material world, or situation in the temple as a service. So many things are described here. And today we are reading from the 3rd canto, chapter 21, verse 14. Before that, we'll pray to the writer and to the original source of all the scriptures, Om Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Verse 40 sounds like that. Punya Drumalata Jalai. Punya Drumalata Jalai. Kujat Punya Mrigad Vijay. Kujat Punya Mrigad Vijay. Sarvartu Phala Pushpadyam. Sarvatu Phala Pushpadyam. Vanaraji Shriyanvitam. Vanaraji Shriyanvitam. Punyadrumalata Jalai. Kujat Punya Mrigad Vijay. Sarvatu Phala Pushpadhyam. Vanaraji Shrivanvitam. Sarvartu Pushpadyam Anaraji Sriyanvitam Punya Drumalata Jalai Pujat Punya Ridajijai Arva Pushpadyam Vanaraji Sriyanvitam. Punya, pious. Druma, of trees. Lata, of creepers. Jalai, with clusters. Kujat, uttering cries. Uttering cries. Uttering cries. Punya, pious. Mriga, animals. Dvijay, with birds. Sarva, in all. Ritu, seasons. Phala, in fruits. Pushpa, in flowers. Adyam, rich. Vanaraji, the groves of trees. Shriya, by the beauty. Anvitam, adorned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The shore of the lake was surrounded by the clusters of pious trees and creepers, rich in fruits and flowers of all seasons, that afforded shelter to pious animals and birds, which uttered various cries. It was adorned by the beauty of groves of forest trees. Purport. It is stated here that Bindu Sarovara was surrounded by pious trees and birds. As there are different classes of man in human society, similarly the pious and virtuous and some are impious and sinful. So also among trees and birds there are the pious and impious. Trees which do not bear nice fruit or flowers are considered impious, and birds which are very nasty, such as crows, are considered impious. In the land surrounding Bindu Sarovar, there was not a single impious bird or tree. Even tree bear fruits and flowers, and every bird sang the glory of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are the close to the pious ones, since we are chanting, as I said here, the glories of the holy name and the glories of the Lord as a place. I was having a little bit of a reflection on my last stay in Vrindavan for a week last year, January, February. And realized that my stay was a little bit of a strange one, in sense of the not being taking part on any parikramas or traveling around the holy place, especially guided by some of the devotees who are knowing all the places. So therefore, one of the points which I realized that there's a Bindu Sarovar somewhere in the world, which I never been there. Have you ever been Bindu Sarovar? Probably not.
Where is it?
Bhuvaneshwar. No. So Bhuvaneshwar is quite close. It's actually the capital of Oriya, and that region is well known by place of Jagannath Puri, which is in the coastal area. So that place I've been very, very long time, 95 as far as I remember. But a little bit up, directly north from Jagannath Puri, there is Bhuvaneshwar. And in the center of the Bhuvaneshwar, there is this place which we currently describing and reading from Srimad Bhagavatam as a Bindu Sarovar. So when I was traveling in a foot, going around Vrindavan and even visiting, as advised, some temples in Vrindavan established by Goswamis, I really regret that I didn't travel with one of the devotees explaining all these places and importance and telling stories and so on. So therefore, I think we could a little bit delve into the particular place of this Bindu Sarovar. And I understand that Bindu Sarovar was described as very, very beautiful place with all the different birds and things. But Bindu Sarovar as such, one time Prabhupada was described, and he gave, just in a year when he was leaving, in January 77, he said, Prabhupada, Bindu Sarovar, drop by drop. Bindu means drop. So Sarovar came into existence by contribution of all the rivers. So gradually we'll unfold the story, how the Bindu Sarovar came about and what pastimes are happening around there. A little bit, just few words, last verse before it is said. It is called Bindu Sarovar because drops of tears had fallen there from eyes of the Lord, who was overwhelmed by extreme compassion for the sage who had such who sought his protection. So we can start from external point of view, and many times, for example, following the great acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or I was reading also a book of Sukhot Maharaj explaining some very important philosophical points or stories. He starts with what's the worldly view? What's the view of people generally around that place? And particularly I found one short description, which is in India Travel. India Travel, there's description of the place. At a distance of 4.5 kilometers from Bhuvaneshwar railway station, usually this is a kind of interesting, the reference point. If you want to travel in India, you have to travel by train. Yes, so now maybe somebody takes taxis or airplanes, but generally people in India travel by train, and that's thanks to the influence of Englishmen who brought them the railways, the famous transportation. So anything you want to go, a starting point is railway station, the name, and then it's like which direction where you go. So Bindu Sarovar Lake, or also Bindu Sagar, sometimes it's said. Sagar means ocean, right? The sea. So local people say this is Sarovar, and it's something like 400 meters by 150 or 200, something like that, lake. One, by the way, it's an interesting thing. I'm not sure you're going to see it so far, but I found a few nice pictures of Bindu Sarovar. For the reference of India, everybody knows India here? It's well known, right? So if you look carefully, then there's a Jagannath Puri is here, right? And just above that is Bindu Sarovar, like that. So this is India. So this is Varanasi, which comes later on in the story. Yeah, this is Vrindavan here, next to Delhi. And the right side, this is Bangladesh, and above the Kolkata, or the Mayapur area here. So this is India, and this is South India. Last travels we also been by blessing with Mataji Devaki. Went to also some places. So, what is it saying? The Sacral Lake is located in north of the Lingaraj temple. So sometimes the temples are also the points of reference, but actually, interesting enough, Lingaraj is much later built in the area. So, in the east of Ananta Vasudev temple in Bhubanesh, Odisha. It serves as a popular picnic spot. Well, as I said, this worldly view. Picnic spot. And also one of the top places to visit in Bhubaneswar. So if you are into the picnic, you can go to Bindasarovar. Although it is said true that many demigods, they also visit the holy places like that, beautiful mountains and sarovars, and they make a picnics there. Demigods, right? The Srimad Bhagavatam is full of stories how there was so beautiful and there was so many singers and dancers. And I remember some years in Thailand, we were going up in the mountains, and the mountain was not very high. It was like 1,500, but it's very scenery road is going like this, winding wide, and every kilometer or two there's a waterfall going up, and you go finally the top part of waterfall, and there's a 7-level falling, and there's people sitting there and chilling out and picnicking, stuff like that. So those things which are created actually by the Lord Himself are also very nice pastime places and relaxing places after the hard work of war or preaching or something like this, which is maybe straining. Surrounded by numerous temples and shrines, Bindu Sagar Lake is considered as the largest water body in Bhubaneswar. According to legends, Bindu Sagar Lake was created by Lord Shiva. By bringing water from all the holy places and to quench the first thirst of goddess Parvati, his wife. Hence it is believed that the dip in Bindu Lake would wash away all the sins and get rid of all the diseases by drinking the holy water. So it's a little bit explained also the directions, how much is big. Other one source, Wikipedia, is also showing the story, a little bit wider and bigger one. And also it's said that it's quite connected with Shiva and Parvati. And they came to marriage. Interesting enough, Shiva and Parvati, they had a huge, nice, extremely nice marriage ceremony. And his place of residence is Varanasi. And as I saw, it's quite north, but not as level as Vrindavan is higher, but just on the right side. So in that area, Lord Shiva chose to be staying, but after a while, they realized that's too populated area. So Shiva is a little bit of into the meditation and austerities, and therefore they came down. He himself actually came down to the area of current Bhubaneswar, and the story unfolds a little bit interesting. When he came down, Ekamra Kshetra, Eka Amra. Amra, it means a mango tree. A huge mango tree, one single Eka Amra Kshetra place, and around that was surrounded by nice, beautiful forest. And he decided to sit underneath there and meditate. So that place was unknown to Parvati. This place is also known as Guptakashi, or hidden Varanasi, with reference to Lord Brahma. So, as the story goes, the Parvati, when she realized that her husband disappeared somewhere, which happens sometimes in the family life, for the spiritual husbands, they just disappear. I remember from my first family life, that was a big, huge problem, since I was disappearing from my family life quite often, actually not quite every day. And usually, the karmi idea is that you work for certain hours, right? And then you come back and you just try to forget about the whole thing and relax with family. That's normal life, right? But if you are devotee, it's a little bit different. You have a service. I was a temple commander for a while and also looking after the brahmacharis and so on and so on. And that starts after breakfast, right? But why would you go after breakfast? You start early. You want to go to greeting deities, right? You have to see the Gauritai. Those times it was impossible to be somewhere lying in ashram or somewhere when the conch shell was blowing. You had to be there. You have to be see the exact moment when the curtain opens. So I was there every morning. So it means you leave from home 6:20, 6:10, whatever, before you go to temple. And then your service day is finished, then you stay for Gararati. And then after that you come home 8 o'clock, So it's from 6 till 8. What kind of working day is that? So my wife definitely couldn't tolerate for a long time, and she decided that I'm not looking after her good enough. I'm too much into the devotional thing, and she decided to go other direction. So also Parvati had the same experience. So she went to this place, but that place was hidden. Yeah, that's hidden Varanasi. So she went directly to Lord Brahma, since Brahma is one who knows all the creation. He knows all the creation like his 5 fingers, like his pocket is said, since there's nothing happening without his creation. So he directed her to this place of Ekamra Kshetra, sorry, and she was looking for Shiva. And she noticed that thousands of cows going under that tree, mango tree, and they are milking the place. Actually, they're putting the milk on the ground, In a Shiva worship, we know how the Shiva Linga is worshipped. Have you seen the Shiva worshipping? With the milk, there's a nice roundish stone, depends on the temple, there's different sizes, and they usually pour the milk on top of it. Yes, there's just a little bit. So all the cows are going there, were milking, putting the milk on the ground there. So she understood that Lord Shiva is there. So she took the care of cows as milkmaid. So the Gopaluni temple there is inside Lingaraj complex. I have a picture of Lingaraj somewhere. Sorry. So this is a Lingaraj temple. Quite similar to Jagannath Puri temple, if you know the features. And many features are quite similar. So this Gopalun temple inside the whole complex, there's many smaller, bigger temples. And this is also one of the Ashtamurti, eight different things. So the place was given, the cows were coming from Goshal, I wouldn't say things. Anyway, the story goes that she was looking so attractive, she became milkmaid looking after cows. And we know this is the ultimate beauty from the point of view of Krishna himself, the milkmaid cows. And that was also noticed by 2 demons. So this is a little bit interesting story, that when you listen and hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a place described but not so detailed, but later on I realized, looking after, there is in Chaitanya Bhagavata, very interesting story how Chaitanya was traveling around and he came to the Bhuvaneshwar, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he gives, 7-page description of the whole area, including all the monks, all the services, all the everything. I was reading it goes on and goes, and he mentions exactly which dynasty, who was worshipping, who was the temple, and so it's just, you think, why would I know? Why would I should read this thing? But this is the part of the Puranas. They describe the whole dynasties of the Manus and the kings, and after all the servants. So this is important. Like Chaitanya Charitamrita, she explains all the branches of Chaitanya coming from, and he explains each one. And he said, I would describe more, but that will take the whole book, describing all the names of the servants and the trees and sub-branches of the service, because each of them are actually the eternal servants of Krishna. So particularly here we see that she also became a milkmaid, and as a Shiva story goes, and that's a little bit different stories which described in different Puranas, they are describing the same story a little bit different ways. One example was, I think Krishna, he was fighting in one of the fights with the Shiva. And Krishna what did? He sent him a weapon of yawning. And he couldn't find anymore. He just was unable to fight anymore. And he had to leave the battlefield. So that's a Puranic story which is from Sattvic point of view. So Krishna was the main hero, and Shiva was defeated by sending him the yawning weapon. So the Shivaic story goes different ways. So here they describe Shiva as a great hero, and then he was fighting, and then he started yawning, and then just left the battlefield. You see the difference? He was just bored with the Krishna's fighting, and he left the battlefield. So the same story, you can put it from different angles of point of view. So also here it is said that two demons were attracted by the beauty known as Kirti and Vasa. And there's probably some Indian movie explaining that, or there's nice pictures, or even more, the theater. Many places you go in India, especially South India, and any of those stories are put into the theater with the huge nice masks and everything, and dancing and everything. And I have no picture currently, but I found also these two demons, Kirti and Vasa, and they proposed the marriage. But some other places in the Vaishnava literature said they proposed forced marriage. That means they wanted to take her without permission. So they proposed, the Shiva story goes that they proposed the marriage to the Parvati, but Parvati didn't like that idea at all. So she trampled with a foot both of those demons and killed. That's Shiva story. So particularly that place is said as Devi Padahara. Pada means with feet, and Hara means killing. So the place where Parvati killed two demons with her feet. So after killing those two demons, she became very tired and took a rest in a place called Bhavani. This is the Bengali pronunciation. Bhavani Shankar temple. Bhavani also. Parvati felt very thirsty and quenched her thirst. So seeing that her wife, and he was meditating, of course, on, we can guess on whom Krishna, yeah. But particularly here is Ananta Vasudeva, unlimited Vasudeva, yeah, pure consciousness. So he was meditating, but still, because the Ananta Vasudeva includes all the living beings, all the creation and stuff like that, so he also, in that meditation, didn't exclude his wife, so he saw his wife also. So when he saw that Parvati was so thirsty, he decided to help, and he struck his trident. She was known by this trident. He struck his trident in the ground, and that place became a well. So let's see, we have a nice picture of that. Oh yeah, this is the other place from inner courtyard of that Ananta Vasudeva temple. Oops, Krishna. What happened? This whole complex of temples there inside. So the Binda Sarovar has become known for the middle part where the lake is. It is very nice, like that. So that middle part is a huge lake. There's a small temple inside. Very, very little, not like 20 by 30 meters and so on. So it close up, it is like that. Yeah. There's some temple there. I can show you the pictures later. So when he struck that trident, the well came out. But Parvati was not very happy with that. She said, well, my thirst is very big. I need a whole lake. And he decided, okay, what are we going to do? He sent his bull, Nandi, right? You know, she was bull named Nandi. He sent him to all the holy places to carry and bring all the waters from all different rivers and holy places, so he can create that lake of Bindu Sarovar. And such a way, Bindu, drop by drop, drop by drop, that whole thing was created. And many, many temples were built later on. So this Bindu, Ananta Vasudeva, according to scriptures, like 1700s and like this, 7th century. So according to story also, the Lord Balarama, when he was traveling India, he was visiting Bindusara's lake. So we can explain, interesting that Prabhupada in one place, okay, that's from 7th canto. He describes also the different places, but just wait, it'll be very interesting explanation. The sacred lakes like Pushkara and places where saintly persons live, like Kurukshetra, Gaya, Prayag, Pula, Ashrama, Naimisharanya, banks of Palgu River, and he mentions other things. And the places, the Nanda River, places the Lord Ramachandra's mother took the shelter, Chitrakuta, and also hilly tracts of land known as Manindra, Malaya, all of those are considered most pious and secret. Similarly, the places outside India, where there are centers of Krishna consciousness movement and where the Radha Krishna deities are worshipped by all, visited and worshipped by those who are wanted a spiritual advancement. One who intends to advance in spiritual life must visit all these places and perform ritualistic ceremonies to get results of thousands of times better the results of same activities and performed in another place. So this verse goes very interesting. Just one name, one Sanskrit thing, it is said Archa Ashita. Archa means the form of the Lord, the temple. But Prabhupada is so uniquely unusual. He says in Sanskrit, like we say today, for example, which word was there? Sarva Ritu, all seasons, all palate fruits. And he says there, Archa Ashrita, the places where the deity of Radha Krishna is worshipped. And then comes in the brackets, such as big American cities like New York and Los Angeles, San Francisco and European cities like London and Paris, or whatever there's a center of Krishna consciousness. So his explanation is so unique. He just gives a small Sanskrit words, Archa, like the places where you can, Archa actually means you take shelter of the deity of Archana, of worshipping. So in the purport he explains very nicely how important it is to be present in those centers, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is backed up as his famous quote that Prithivete Achayata Nagaradigram Sarvatra Pachara Haibe Moranam, that any place in the world, there practically any town and village will be a place where people worshipping Lord and where they take shelter of Him. So that's very nice. 7th canto again says, auspicious indeed are the places where the temple of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in which He is duly worshipped, and also places where the flow of celebrated sacred rivers mentioned in the Puranas and other places. So Madhya Lila also explains. In Chaitanya Bhagavatam, Antyakanda chapter 2, it is said that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived in Bhuvaneshwara. He visited the temple of Lord Shiva, known as Gupta Kashi, or concealed Varanasi. Lord Shiva established this place as pilgrimage by bringing water from all holy places, creating the lake known as Bindu Sarovar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his bath in this lake, feeling a great regard to Lord Shiva. From the spiritual point of view, people still go to take bath in the lake. Actually, by taking bath there, one becomes very healthy, even from material viewpoint. Taking bath and drinking the water in this lake can cure any disease of the stomach. So I heard some stomach disease recently flowing around. Nobody has? So, interesting enough, one of the classes, I heard that the holy place has such an unusual influence that all the water can, water, rivers or lakes, or in a 1.5 kilometer radius, or it's like mile radius on both sides, all directions become holy. So if we going to bathe in some place, we can say we are bathing actually in a Ganges and holy place like that. This is unusual influence of a deity as such. One who has read, I hope I one day will read a book by Shivaram Swami, which is Navadvipa. How's it called? The multi-volume book, which is written by Maharaj, to describe the Hungarian area of this Krishna Valley, how gradually, after establishing Radha Krishna deity in the center and a temple, all the holy places are gradually developing and appearing. So some say we also have here holy places. If we go around gradually, and you have a spiritual vision, you can go from the Krishna's temple, where it's here, Chaitanya and Nrsimha, and there's like main shrine. There's all the holy places and the groves and stuff like that. So maybe gradually, who has a spiritual vision, he can establish all the holy places around here too. So this is the beauty of the principle of worshipping deity and the devotion. So deity likes to have all the pastimes around, and in Brahma Samhita, when Brahma himself explains the holy abode of Lord, he says that it's like a lotus flower. So the Dhamma as such is lotus flower. No, I can't remember the book. And Sri Ram Swami explains that actually there's a different levels or different stages, or I'd say different varieties of expansion of holy place. First of all, there's original spiritual abode of Krishna himself. Usually we say it's aprakata, unmanifested. It is manifested for those who are living there, for eternal living beings, and most of the living beings are in the spiritual world. So there's out of whole creation, only 1/4 of it is material creation. So eternal creation is, of course, we can say, from our point of view, if we look at the stars and so on, the space is unlimited. So if you take even one whole unlimited, and you take 1/4 of unlimited, still it's unlimited. So material creation is, from that time and space wise, unlimited, but still there is only 1/4 of it. So these 3/4 of unlimited is spiritual world. So original Krishna's abode is unlimited, but then it also has a amazing potency to appear in one place, like in Vrindavan, which we know now, or Mayapur, or Jagannath Puri, or in Simhachalam Kshetram here, and it also unlimited. For example, Srimad Bhagavatam explains when the Dvarka, according to measurements, were not big, where all the Krishna's palaces were not big at all. Although they're somehow, by this unexplainable potency, all the how many palaces? 16,108 palaces, and each palace was huge, you know. They were all fitting somehow in this small area of Dwarka. But other places said that just wall were 64 miles, you know, so like 64 miles, like 100 kilometers. So it's impossible to understand how the holy place can be kind of limited in area of 64 crores or square miles or something like this. And in Mayapur, current Mayapur is even smaller, we think so, no? So this is the second manifestation of the holy place. When it appears, during the appearance of Lord on the earth, he fully manifests his abode here on the earth. The third manifestation is interesting enough, the place which we see now. When we see now in Mayapur or Vrindavan, then those places seem to be pretty, not very attractive, not very beautiful, and all the cows and monkeys and the rubbish bins and stuff like that. And if you look at the state of Yamuna River now, it is black waters, not because the black of beauty or deepness or spiritual potency, but black due to all the wastewaters going into the river. So unfortunately, and when I just went to the Yamuna, thought just for the parikrama path and going around, and you go catch the corner of the Yamuna River there, and new service for the local Brajabasis are that they bring all the people from this side to other side of the river. They take the boat and they transfer you there, because that side somehow or another the water is cleaner, or some kind of branch, so you can take bath there. You cannot take bath properly here, even because of all the pipes and stuff like that. So unusual. And it's said that holy river is gradually disappearing. In the Kali Yuga they go underground. So one day, maybe, hopefully not in our lifetime, but the holy rivers, they are not willing to allow to take bath for sinful people around. So this is the unfortunate situation of our things. So this is the third manifestation which we see the Dhamma currently, although it is actually existing there with our current eyes we cannot see. And then there is Dhamma which exists in the heart of devotee. This is the fourth dimension of holy Dhamma. So it is said that the holy persons are the places of pilgrimages themselves. So when you sit next to the holy person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, in devotional service, meditating Krishna in his heart, it is manifestation of holy Dhamma. And Chaitanya himself said that my mind is the Vrindavan. So his mind is completely absorbed in the holy place. And the fifth manifestation is when some of those devotees, they create dhammas. They create holy places. So when somebody is, just example, say, same followers Lord Chaitanya, 6 Goswamis, they were sent to Vrindavan and they established the temples. So Vrindavan temple, we can say there, of course, there's original Dhamma and so on, and all the holy places which were discovered, rediscovered, and now there we can see, this is the place where the Kali lake was, and the Kali snake was, his head was danced upon, and so on. But still there's a new temples. Yeah, there's a Radha Govinda temple, and the temple of Radha Raman, self-manifest deity, so on. So they become holy places. So this is the fifth manifestation of the all possible places described by Shivaram Swami in this book, the first canto. So when we read here in Srimad Bhagavatam those beautiful explanations of Bindu Sarovar, we have to understand this is undivided. It's not different from original place of Krishna's holy abode, but in this particular place, it just manifests in certain way, just some of the features it manifests. So so beautiful, all these birds, if you really are aware of descriptions of Krishna's Vrindavan Lila, do you understand? This is the same birds living and singing in Vrindavan, but there is a partial manifestation. Same as the manifestations of Lord. There is a Lord Himself, and there is avatars and expansions and partial and this one. So according to the necessity or desire, actually, of living being, those places being manifest. So Shiva, obviously, he is known as a dancer, he's known as a meditator, but also he's pretty fond of the waters. What's the main example of his connection with the waters? He holds the Ganges on his head. Now, when the Ganges are coming from the washing the toe of the Lord, from the covering of universe, when that was pierced, the Ganges coming, and she was happily, no one else actually, by his power, could hold the Ganges on his head when he comes down from the heavenly planets. Of course, it goes down lower, the Patala regions, so on, so Ganges flows the whole universe. So, therefore, all the holy places like this, beauty and so on, if it's anything beautiful, if anything pious, so pious trees, we look around, how many pious trees we have here? Yeah, we have apple trees there, right? They are pious, they give some fruits, yeah, something, but usually they are cultivated. So same thing here in the verse was this word latta. It's so much connected to the bhakti latta bij, you know. The tree which of we growing up our devotional service. So any tree which gives the fruits is originally somehow the copy, the expansion of this tree growing from our hearts, and finally, as Chaitanya Charitamrita explains, finally reaching the abode of Krishna. And also somehow I got one point of the class where they mentioned there's only one wish-fulfilling tree in the spiritual world. Have you heard about wish-fulfilling trees? There's many of them, right? Any place that said there's so many, each tree is wish-fulfilling tree. But Tamal Krishna Maharaj, when he was playing Brahma Samhita, he said there's only one tree, wish-fulfilling. All other ones are his expansions. And that tree grows in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. That's the original wish-fulfilling tree. So other ones are his followers, his expansions. So also there was another expansion. It is said that Madhvacharya, Madhavendra. It is some place explained that Madhavendra is one of the original wish-fulfilling trees. There was this prayer that the Kalpadruma died, this Sanskrit verse, that Radha Govinda, what was that verse? Radha Govinda is sitting underneath a wish-fulfilling tree. That tree is Madhavendra. So we can connect the two things, that actually Madhavendra is the original wish-fulfilling tree which gives the love of God to all of us, those who want to follow this process, and by discussing and hearing those topics about holy places like this, established originally by Krishna, actually expanding, but obviously outwardly established by the Shiva and the waters coming, all these holy rivers and so on. We can only hear that just by bathing there you can go to spiritual world. Just by taking Mahaprasad from Ananta Vasudeva, it's also similar like in Jagannath Puri. The idea is it never contaminated by anything. Even if it's brought to you by dog. If dog is running around and he couldn't take the whole thing, swallow it, and he just runs around with a piece of Mahaprasad from the temple of Ananta Vasudeva in Bhuvaneshwar, it's exactly in the Jagannath temple. The prasadam is never contaminated. Or even it's come from a place where the untouchable food is there. Doesn't matter. Food, the prasadam of that temple is so pure that just by taking it, even the Brahma and Shiva, great demigods, take human form to go in that temple and get prasadam. So this is another point of glory of Mahaprasadam. So just round up the class and maybe leave some time for the questions. We can remember that Binda Sarovar is a very unusually beautiful place. At nighttime, the local Indians in these festivals, they hold different festivals. They have also, like Jagannath Puri, they have Rath Car, and they have bathing and then Chandan Yatra and boat festivals, everything happening there in this place. So by remembering, by reading those places, we can closer to the piety which are possessed by those birds. And interesting enough, the bird, what was the name for the bird here? Dvija. You know why the bird is called Dvija? Dvija, twice born. You have idea? Yes. Yeah, that's twice born. So we are also, so there's a hint that you have to be twice born. First we born from there, and then we actually see the daylight, because our covering of an egg, it is compared to the universe. We are born in the egg of the material universe, but still we have to break that covering and get out and see the real spiritual daylight of Krishna consciousness in the context of all the light coming. It's described to Brahman is the emanation is a shining of the Krishna's body. So the light, if you see in the morning, you wake up and you see yourself, that means there's a sun somewhere. So any potency of seeing or understanding those things in Srimad Bhagavatam is only by the blessing of Krishna. So if anything we understand, anything we catch, that means Krishna is willing to show us those things. So let us not stop in our path and gradually become pious trees and birds of Kusum Sarovar, Binda Sarovar, or Vrindavan itself, and similar like trees and birds sing there. The glory is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any comments, questions? Yes, Manji.
Thank you, first of all, for your interesting class. I do have one little confusion. Somehow I was always thinking that the story with Kadama Muni actually did not happen on this planet, but another planet. So this Bindu Sarovar, is it really on that lake where it happened, or is there another Bindu Sarovar on a higher planet?
I wouldn't be qualified to define it, and
because just these descriptions, how he later creates this whole flying mansion and so on, I was always in this belief it happened somewhere in a heavenly planet or something.
we have to understand first of all that all the holy places, as I mentioned there, as a holy Dham itself, it is from one point of manifesting, from other point non-different. So when we see the original Krishna's planet, which is bigger than all other Vaikunta planets themselves, it's just bigger. It's just original Krishna's planet includes, is expanded in the spiritual world, and all the other planets of spiritual world is smaller. Still, that Krishna's abode is present here, and according to our material vision, has a kind of measurements 64 by 64 miles or something like it's in Vrindavan or Mayapur, even smaller, seems so, but it is there. So the Bindu Sarovar as a holy place, as far as I understand, according to my limited vision and what I heard from different sources explaining Maharajas, it is possible for her to be appearing here and manifesting. Same like there is a holy river, kind of Ganges or Yamuna, and at the same time Yamuna is present in a Bindu Sarovar there. So can we?
That's clear for me, but
Yeah.
what about the pastime?
pastime as such.
Where did the pastime happen actually? That's kind of what.
Well, according to the timeline as such, Kardama Muni is a like second, third, fourth generation coming from Brahma. From that point of view, there was just first creation. So how much the earthly planet as such was expanded, I cannot say. Because those first generations, there's a Brahma, there's a Brahma's sons, and there's his daughters, and there's Manus, and straight away there's like fourth generation coming from Brahma. And this, according to my understanding, this is the first day of Brahma. When we explain those things, this is the first day of Brahma. Although, from Swayambhuva Manu, we can understand this is the 14th Manu. So, I'm not like confused, but according to my information coming from particularly the last seminar which I heard, Tamal Krishna Maharaj or Brahma Samhita, those things can be perceived in a different timeline, although it's the situation or the place itself is the same. So the Binder Sarovar or some other place, it is there, but according to our vision, it appears there. Like a Parvati and Shiva, they had marriage. They always been married. But they had this ceremony of marriage, and then they went to Varanasi. Then all these places originally are present in a blueprint in Krishna's mind, in his idea how it's happening. So when the pastime happens, it can be perceived that happens now, currently, in a subtle plane, and it repeats itself all the time. Meanwhile, we here perceive that same pastime happening here in Bhuvaneshwar area here. So if you go physically in Bhuvaneshwar, then any pastime happening there during the whole history of lifetime of the whole universe can be revealed to you according to your desire by Krishna himself. So you can be there in Bhuvaneshwar in the Bindu Sarovar, and if you wish, Krishna will show you, now it's happening. Now the marriage happening. Now the whole story goes. This is the unusual potency. When you go to holy place, you can have access to the pastimes which kind of happened, but according to the Bhavishya Purana, it will happen. So when Bhavishya Purana explains things, it mixes up. One sentence was past, and next sentence is future. So when we say that timeline and place, those are material elements which will be explained by the Kardama Muni as a Sankhya. So those elements of place and time and space are external creations, just to briefly, little bit show those things which happening in spiritual. So when you go to any holy place, it can be access to any of those pastimes. Yeah, you still want to catch, you know.
Yeah, where did it happen then originally, as described in the Bhagavatam? Was that on this planet, or was it somewhere else?
I don't put so much emphasis or importance to that this planet or not. This is the holy place of Bindu Sarovar. So originally that place was there, and if we see the Bindu Sarovar now, it is kind of like, okay, is it where actually Shiva pushed it here? So this is there. That's how story goes. You know, I understand if there is a water now, if there's a temple there, that means that is the place where the Shiva actually did it. So means the Shiva did his pushing and and creating before the Bindu Sarovar, actually the pastime. So it has to be before that. So the whole story which we explained today, that means there was the earth, there was a push, there was a water, and there was beautiful lake, and later on side of that, Kardama was performing austerities. So I would say, of course, that's logical, but yeah, it is in this planet, yeah, because this is middle planet. This is my conclusion. Of course, if you find the exact quote, we can say different, but My answer is yes, it was on this planet.
Thank you.
Garibu.
Now I've said it.
Yes. Any other contradictory questions? This is inconceivable, you know. If we be careful to worship Nrsimhadev, he will expand all the holy places around here, and we will go here. In that corner, it will be Bindu Sarovar. It's amazing, and you'll go there, and you'll bathe, and all the holy rivers will be there, and the temples there. Like this. Actually, this is a blueprint of all original Vrindavan. So I'm sure there is a original source of Bindu Sarovar somewhere in the Vrindavan, original Krishna's planet there, because the old pastimes are coming from there. So all other places, all other holy rivers. Why is Radha Kund so important? Because somehow this idea of all the holy places happening there. But original person around whom these pastimes happen is Krishna. So first of all, he is kind of expanding, you know, it's like original Lord, and then he expands himself as a Radha and Krishna, and then he joins together as a Lord Chaitanya. So from our point of view, it's like time, is it time when he expanded? So same thing, there's holy places which are around the whole Vrindavan area, and all grows, and all the lakes, Vrindavan is full of them. So one of those beautifully amazing places have a slightly copy in a Bindu Sarovar, and we have to be amazed. Of course, that has to have a spiritual vision, because if you go there, and then there's a picnicking now. There's picnics there, and the Indian guy sitting there and having cigarettes and some drinks, you know, and taking selfies there. This is the main thing. Although there's a festivals, there's a fountain festival. You know how it looks. Fountain festival. I cannot explain exactly, but for example, this is Bindu Sarovar at night time. Yeah, it's all lighted up in the temple, and then they have this amazing 3D laser show when the fountains go up from Bindu Sarovar. They project the picture of Shiva there, and it's like hanging in the air. You know? Have you seen those shows? No, I've seen quite a few of them. It's quite amazing. They put the fountains there, and they put Shiva's picture there, and it's just like 3D in the air somewhere, because water gives, and there's a projector going there. Yeah. So the main thing is to concentrate our mind of unlimited source of all beauty, who is Krishna, and that his potency is able to expand and create his holy place in any place we are going on. So gradually, when we see the Prabhupada's presence, then he sees walking holy place himself, you know. And just by sitting next to him or hearing his Srimad Bhagavatam on his classes, we can completely be absorbed in the Bindu Sarovar or any other place like that. So thanks to him, this is all. His candle, which is expanding in our lives, we gradually, our light and our candle also become stronger. One day, we shouldn't think like that ourselves, that we should be a little bit humble-ish, but yeah, we can be holy places walking around ourselves too. Or not? You want to be holy place walking around? You can do, because if you're completely absorbed in Krishna, and it's impossible. Krishna expands his whole leelas in your mind, and it's just like talk and explain. And anybody will contact you, he'll feel presence of the holy places, and Krishna himself. So let's finish on that. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.